Hello, I'm Lane. Let's talk about solving a proportion of the form x plus a over b equals c over d. I chose this background because this represents the method of cross multiplication that we're going to be using in these problems. So this is our first example. Okay, our first step is going to be to cross multiply. So we're going to multiply 15 by 4, and we're going to multiply v plus 8 by 5. This v plus 8, you should put in parentheses, okay? And the results of the two cross multiplications are going to go on two sides of the equal sign, all right? So on this left-hand side, I'm going to put the multiplication going like this, which is v plus 8 times 5. So I'm going to write that right here. V plus 8 times 5. I'm using this dot to represent multiplication. You could use the little x, or you could put just the 5 by itself in the front of the parentheses. That would mean the same thing. On the other side of the equal sign, we're going to put the result of the multiplication from the line that goes like this. 15 times 4, okay? Now let's simplify some things. On the right-hand side, what's 15 times 4? 15 times 4 is 60. On the left-hand side, we need to distribute. Because we have this set of parentheses with addition or subtraction, and we're multiplying a number by that whole quantity. So we need to multiply the 5 by the 8 and by the v. So in this next step, we're going to write 5 times v. We're going to write our plus sign, and then we're going to write 5 times 8. What is 5 times 8? It's 40, right? So on the left-hand side, we have 5v plus 40. Now, we need to solve this for v, okay? When you are solving an equation, you need to remember PEMDAS, but you're going to use PEMDAS in the opposite order that you would use it if you were simplifying an expression. If you're simplifying an expression or evaluating an expression, you apply the order of operations starting from the top. When you're solving an equation, you use the order of operations starting from the bottom, okay? So we are going to ask ourselves, in this equation, is there any subtraction? We're starting at the bottom. No, there's not. Is there any addition? Yes, there's addition right here. So this is where we are going to start solving our equation. We're going to start by removing this addition. What is the opposite of adding 40? Or addition of 40. It's subtraction, right? The opposite of addition is subtraction. So our first step is going to be to subtract 40 from both sides. All right, now on the left-hand side, the plus 40 minus 40 cancel out. We have just 5v on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, 60 minus 40 is 20. Now we go back to PEMDAS and we say, all right, we've taken care of the addition. Is there any division? No. Is there multiplication? Yes, right here. This is 5 times v. So the next step to solve this equation is going to be to use the opposite of multiplication, which is division, right? So we're going to divide both sides by 5. If we do that, then on the left-hand side, these two 5s cancel out. And all we have is v. And on the right-hand side, what's 20 divided by 5? It's 4, right? So that's our answer. V is equal to 4. Let's put that in. Okay, our first step is going to be to multiply these two things and these two things and set them on opposite sides of an equal sign. So first, I'm going to start with the with the multiplication that's going this way, the 4 times y minus 2. 4 times y minus 2, we need to write like this. You need to put the y minus 2 in parentheses, okay? This is 4 times y minus 2. Then on the other side of our equal sign, we're going to put the result of multiplication from the line going this way, which is 5 times 3. Okay, so I'm just going to write that like this, 5 times 3. All right, so that's our first step. Now, in the next step, we need to do some simplification. On the right-hand side, you can go ahead and multiply 5 times 3. That's 15, right? On the left-hand side, we need to distribute this 4. This 4 should be multiplied by y and by 2. Okay, 4 times y is 4y. Then we have the minus sign in the middle. And then 4 times 2 is 8. So what we have now is 4y minus 8 equals 15. So we're going to start with subtraction, the S. Is there subtraction in this problem? Yes, there is. It's right here, minus 8. The first step to solving this equation is going to be to get rid of that subtraction. What is the opposite of subtraction? It's addition, right? So our first step should be to add 8 to both sides. And negative 8 plus 8 on the left-hand side is 0. So those two cancel out. And on the left-hand side, all we have left is 4y. All right? On the right-hand side, we have 15 plus 8. I could write 15 plus 8 right here, or we could go ahead and do that addition in our head. What's 15 plus 8? It's 23, right? So on the right-hand side, we have 23. All right, already this equation is looking better. We only have one step left. If you're still unsure, you should proceed up PEMDAS over here, right? You should look for, is there addition in this equation? No. Is there division? No. Is there multiplication? Yes. Right here, this 4y, that means 4 times y. So this multiplication is the thing that we need to deal with next. What is the opposite of multiplication? Division. So we can use division to get rid of the 4. We want to keep the y, right? Because we're solving for y. We want to keep it on the left-hand side. But because there's multiplication here, we can use the opposite of multiplication, which is division, to get rid of the 4. Because if we divide both sides by 4, then on the left-hand side, the 4s are going to cancel out. And we're going to just have y. On the right-hand side, we have 23 divided by 4. We can't use a calculator. And 23 actually isn't divisible by 4, but thankfully we have this fraction thing here. I should make sure that we can't simplify this. And we can't. 23 is not a multiple of 4. And also 23 is not a multiple of 2. So we can't simplify that fraction. 23 over 4 is our answer. So let's go ahead and put that answer in. Excellent. Okay, let's do a couple more examples. Okay, we're going to start by copying down the problem. All right, our next step is going to be to cross multiply like this. So it doesn't matter which one of these we start with. I'm going to start with this one. Okay, I'm going to put the 3 times 6 on the left-hand side of my equation. 3 times 6. Then I'll put my equal sign, and on the right-hand side of the equation, I'm going to put the other multiplication, which is going to be 4 times v minus 4. So the v minus 4 needs to be written in parentheses. And by putting the 4 right up next to that parenthesis, that means multiplication, right? Okay, in our next step, we need to do some simplifying. The left-hand side says 3 times 6, and so what is that? That's 18, right? On the right-hand side, we can distribute this 4. We can multiply 4 times v, that's just 4v. Then we have a minus sign. And then what is 4 times 4? 16. So that goes here. All right, now we need to solve this equation for v. So our goal is going to be to leave the v alone. We need to deal with the 4 and the minus 16 over here. And remember that this is the order of operations, PEMDAS, and that when we are solving an equation, we start with the bottom of PEMDAS, or we start with the S. So is there subtraction in this equation? Yes, right here, the minus 16. What's the opposite of subtraction? Addition. So addition will let us remove the 16. If we add 16 to both sides, then on the right-hand side, then minus 16 plus 16 is 0. What do we have on the left-hand side for our next step? What is 18 plus 16? We can't use the calculator, so we might need to do this over here on the side. 16 plus 18 is, let's see, 14. That's going to be 34. Okay, 34 equals 4v. Okay. All right, now we look again at PEMDAS to decide what our next step is going to be. We've taken care of the subtraction. Is there addition? No. Is there division? No. Is there multiplication? Yes. 4v means 4 times v. So this multiplication is what we need to deal with. What is the opposite of multiplication? Division. So dividing both sides is going to remove the 4. What would we divide both sides by in order to get rid of the 4? 4, right? Because if we divided the right-hand side by 4, then these 4's cancel out. On the left-hand side, we have 34 over 4. So I'm gonna copy this down onto the next step. 34 over 4 equals v. Is this our answer? We've got v by itself, but can this fraction 34 over 4 be simplified? Yes, it can, right? Because 34 and 4 are both even numbers. So we can divide them both by 2. On the top, what is 34 divided by 2? It's going to be 17. We can do the long division too, right? What is 34 divided by 2? Let's see, 2 goes into 3 one time. 1 times 2 is 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. Bring down the 4. And 2 goes into 14 7 times, and then 7 times 2 is 14, and 14 minus 14 is 0. So 17 is the quotient of 34 and 2. In the denominator, we have 4, right? So we divided the 34 by 2. We also need to divide the 4 by 2. And 4 divided by 2 is 2. So 17 over 2 is equal to 34 over 4, which is equal to v. Can this fraction be simplified? No, it can't, right? Because the only factors of 2 are 2 and 1. 17 isn't divisible by 2, and dividing both numbers by 1 wouldn't change anything. So our answer is 17 over 2. For this problem, we're going to start by copying it down. X plus 8 over 16 equals 3 over 4. And we're going to cross multiply like this. So let's start. Doesn't matter which one we start with, but I'm going to start with this one. So I'm going to start with the x plus 8 times 4. We could write that a couple different ways, right? We could write x plus 8 times 4 like this, or 4 times x plus 8 would mean the same thing, because the order in which you multiply things doesn't matter. It's still equal. So on the left-hand side of my equation, in the next step over here, I'm going to put 4 times x plus 8 like this. All right? Now on the other side, so we did the multiplication for this line. Now we need to do the multiplication for this line. What is 16 times 3? That's what is going to go on the other side. All right, in our next step, we need to distribute the 4 on the left-hand side. 4 times x is just 4x. Then we have a plus sign. And then 4 times 8 is 32, right? 32. Then we have our equal sign. And now what is 16 times 3? Let's work that out over here. 16 times 3. See, that's 18, 48, right? So on the right-hand side, we have 48. All right, now we've done this distributing. We've done the multiplication on the other side. Now we need to solve the equation by applying PEMDAS in reverse, okay? So is there subtraction in this equation? No. Is there addition? Yes. So the addition is what we take care of. What's the opposite of addition? It's subtraction. So we should subtract 32 from both sides. Because on the left-hand side, the 32 minus 32 is 0. And so that cancels out the 32 from the left-hand side, and all we have is 4x over there. On the right-hand side, what's 48 minus 32? We could do this over here. 48 minus 32 is 16. So on the right-hand side, we have 16. Okay, we've taken care of that addition. Is there division here? No. Is there multiplication? Yes. 4x means 4 times x. So we use the opposite of multiplication in our next step, which is division. What do we divide by? We divide by 4. On the left-hand side, the 4's cancel out, and x is equal to 16 divided by 4, which is 4, right? So our answer is 4. Awesome. Okay, let's do one more problem together. 3 over v minus 3 equals 2 over 5. So we're going to do the cross multiplication right here. So let's start with this one first. 3 times 5. Then we'll put our equal sign, and then what goes on the other side? It's the result of this multiplication. The v minus 3 times 2, or 2 times v minus 3, and that's how we should write it, 2 times v minus 3. Okay, in the next step, we're going to multiply 3 times 5, which is 15, and over here we're going to distribute the 2. So 2 times v is 2v, and then we have the minus sign, and then 2 times 3 is 6, right? Great. Now we need to solve this equation. Remember PEMDAS and start with the bottom. Is there subtraction? Yes, right there, the plus 6. What's the opposite of subtraction? It's addition. So adding 6 to both sides is going to move us closer to the solution. Negative 6 plus 6 is 0. So on the right-hand side, we just have 2v. On the left-hand side, we have 15 plus 6, which is 21, right? Okay, so we're done with the subtraction. Now, is there addition here? No. Is there division here? No. Is there multiplication? Yes. 2v means 2 times v. So we use the opposite of multiplication to get rid of the 2, and the opposite of multiplication is division. So we need to divide both sides by 2. On the right-hand side, the 2's cancel out, and so v is equal to 21 over 2. Can this fraction be simplified? Is 21 even? No, that fraction can't be simplified, so that's our answer. V is equal to 21 divided by 2. Excellent. Please let me know if you have any questions about this video in the comments. I would be happy to answer them. I'm going to put some links up here to some other topics in this objective. I hope that this video was helpful for you, and I hope that you have a great day. Thank you for watching.